For the past few months, I've been salvaging firewood out of a couple of the rivers up here that were badly affected by Cyclone Gabrielle, which stopped hundreds of thousands of tonnes of logs in the riverbeds. And they went on, in many cases, to destroy all the bridges that were on this particular river, the Tutaikuri. Last week, in an article in the Hawke's Bay Today, it was reported that the regional council were going to pile up 70,000 tonnes of firewood in the rivers and burn it. Well, that wood is still green, so it'll smoke like hell and won't burn properly. They were funded by millions of dollars from MPI, or us taxpayers. I'm 67 years old and semi-retired, but I thought, well, I'll go and see the council and tell them what I'm doing. And I met with a guy there, Mark Hudson, the senior engineering officer. Now, he was basically delighted that I was doing it and said, go for it. He said, just send me an email so I've got some contact details, which I did. Following day, from Mike Signal at the Hawke's Bay Regional Council, I get an email telling me to cease work immediately. Him and I had come across each other some time ago when he gave me an instant fine of $1,000 for burning what he claimed was a piece of treated timber. It wasn't, and when I asked him for evidence and what expertise he had to ascertain that, he refused to supply anything, and I guess he's held a snitch ever since. And I'll put you some photos in a slideshow that I've taken and just see what you think. The slideshow you're about to view show the massive log jams up the Tutaikuri River that will come down in the next flood. The Hawke's Bay Regional Council go to incredible lengths to stop people recovering this wood for firewood. Why they have the time or need to do that is anybody's guess. After the cyclone created hell in Hawke's Bay, I was continually reading headlines condemning the Hawke's Bay Regional Council because of their failure to maintain the riverbeds in Hawke's Bay. Headlines such as, Hawke's Bay farmers fear more bridges, land and infrastructure will be wiped out because the region's rivers haven't been maintained by the Regional Council. Or, however, those living and working in the upper catchment disagree that the council is doing their job. There's been nothing done out there for, 40 odd years. We have zero interest from the Hawke's Bay Council, another says. So I thought I would show the public of Hawke's Bay what the situation is in the Tutaikuri River, a river with thousands of tonnes of native logs that have stayed upriver not far from the headwaters where they have been washed down onto the floodplains. This is because they are too heavy to float while they're green, so once the main thrust of the floodwaters branches out onto the floodplains, they sink and remain there. Okay, over the coming months or years, that wood will dry out, and when another reasonable sized flood comes down the river, they will float away, and any new bridges in the way, remembering of course all the bridges on the Tutaikuri River were washed away during Cyclone Gabrielle, anything left there will be damaged and possibly destroyed with all the flood-borne timber that will come down the river. The likely scenario could well be, we ain't seen nothing yet. There is far more wood waiting to be flooded down the rivers than there was in Cyclone Gabrielle. The Hawke's Bay Regional Council go to incredible lengths with Gestapo-type raids on someone who tries to recover this timber to prevent another tragedy in the future. That's despite Regional Council Acting Group Manager Integrated Catchment Management, Anna Madaras Smith, who says removal of wood debris is crucial to prevent any further damage to infrastructure and local communities throughout the region. She says, now it's incredibly important we work quickly to safely remove what we can to reduce risk of any further damage in another rain event. The Hawke's Bay Regional Council have no plans to remove the waste wood you have just viewed in the Tutaikuri River, but in other rivers they plan on piling it up with contractors using heavy earth moving equipment and then attempting to burn it. A lot of the wood won't burn because it's too wet, and what does burn will create incredible pollution by the smoke from the fires. This is Mike Signal, Hawke's Bay Regional Council, who had just snatched our business phone from my hands, claiming he had a right to seize it. The fact is, his search warrant did not allow such seizure. Mike Signal, do the contractors piling up firewood in the rivers to burn have the resource consent you claim is needed? Is that not a civil question? Will you not answer that question?
I'll send it to you in writing.
Why can't you tell me now? Why can't you tell me now? As it happens, the financial side of the Manuka firewood business is not viable, so I'm now looking at doing it another way by creating sawdust and Manuka chips for smoking and cooking. As it happens, I claim to be one of the most experienced persons in New Zealand in regard to native timber. I have salvage logged thousands of tons of dead trees all over New Zealand with helicopters, with boats, with four-wheel drive tractors, with skidders, and turned the product into the finished item and exported it all over the world.